Alright, we're doing more Great Ace Attorney 3. Actually, no. We're doing Case 3 of Great Ace Attorney 2. That's what I meant to say. But before we begin, you know me, I like to bitch about things. So I'm going to bitch about the new Discord update. So, first of all, I wanted to show my new PFP. It's Sailor Moon holding a Monster Energy can. It's this random-ass meme that I found. Well, that's one thing I wanted to show. Secondly, look at this UI. Like, what the hell's going on here? It's like, everything's more, like, squished weirdly now. Like, now my icons are smaller. Like, all my like, server icons are small now. It's just weird. I don't like it. I guess one kind of cool thing is the server name is at the top of the screen, but that's about the only really like cool thing. Everything else looks like shit. It's way too different. I don't know. I liked Discord how it was before, but that's just me. I like bitching about things that probably nobody else is gonna bitch about. I mean, something similar happened a few weeks ago when I was playing, before I played Resident Evil 6 with the boys. For some reason, when I'm in VC, all the buttons are like square now. Which, you know, is actually kind of ironic considering I like the square icons on YouTube. But on Discord, they look weird. I don't know. It's very strange. I saved right before we did the trial. Or the first testimony, I should say. So, we're gonna do that. The corpse that went crashing through the crystal tower had a broken neck. It made a minor miscalculation in the angle of the beam projection, that's all. That was my mistake. But the post-mortem examination revealed another injury, a fatal wound. There was a lesion in his chest where he'd clearly been stabbed by something sharp right in the heart. So the victim was killed before he went anywhere, and this fella's the only one who could have done it. So I gotta prove he didn't do it, or what? An extraordinary business. In addition to suffering a broken neck, the victim was stabbed in the heart. Information I would really have liked to hear from someone other than the judge. The coroner says death would have all but instant from a wound like that. You could say, in fact, that the victim was killed twice by the accused. 9! 9! And 9! That couldn't be further from the truth! I have here the experiment plan document that was submitted to the security team. The victim stood himself inside something they called the birdcage, ready to be beamed instantly. Oh. To the second level of the crystal tower, about 25 yards away. Oh, you boys love your yards, don't you? Scotland Yard, 25 yards. How many other yards do I need to know about? The experiment did not go according to plan, however. As the machine was put into operation, there was a large explosion. The blast caused the beam transmitter to point higher than intended. And he fell. Accordingly, the kinesis resulted in the birdcage materializing in midair. Wah wah wah. That looks pretty funny, actually. From where it subsequently followed, crashing through the glass of the crystal tower's large round window. My word. One assumes the victim's neck would broken upon impact from the tower then. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. The machine was too powerful. But honestly, I really swear it. It was just an accident. A terrible accident. Unfortunately, that excuse can't save you. No, not considering the sharp matter weapon that pierced the victim's heart. Murder weapon? What are you saying? This autopsy report submitted by the coroner. The prosecution would like to enter it into the court record. Your request is granted, counsel. Alright. Hey, at least we didn't get the updated autopsy report. I mean, that's a good thing, right?
I was there in person, you know. I saw the whole ludicrous performance. And the only other person on the stage with Mr. Asman was that disgraceful excuse for a scientist.
Really? By all accounts, it must have been him.
Hard to think otherwise, really. Very well, counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination, please.
Oh, yes, my lord. I need to focus here. It's been a while. Yeah, I gotta slap your face. Well, before I do any of this tomfoolery, I should probably look at my evidence. Have I examined the cloth yet? I don't think I have. Looks like layers of thick canvas with a thick rubber lining of sorts. I've never seen anything like it before. But applying Mr. Shulm's methods, you might deduce it was part of a raincoat worn by someone who really didn't want to get wet. And the charring must have occurred when the person was struck by lightning. Or maybe not. So that doesn't really help us much, does it? I mean, I guess we could cross-examine the crossbow again. Oh, I gotta... Yeah. I mean, I could just... It doesn't hurt to have another look. No, it seems to be all check-marked up, so I think it's the same. Still, though, the crossbow is pretty sus. There's nothing really to examine with the photograph. Shows an apparent stab wound to the chest. I mean, that lines up at least. The autopsy report of the victim, Mr. Asman, his neck was broken from the impact of a violent fall and was stabbed in the chest by the sharp object. Well, what's the sharp object then? Do we even know? Time of death was 2:20 p.m. The coroner, it was Courtney Scythe? I'm going to assume it's Courtney Scythe. And also, I find it funny that, we're mentioning the coroner at all. Is the coroner going to be a witness? Hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierced the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. A broken vertebra, most likely resulting from impact after a sudden fall from considerable height. That all seems to line up. Everything I've examined so far has indicated that, yeah, he was stabbed in the chest.
Hold it!
Are you suggesting that's because he fell from a considerable height?
Exactly, which highlights something else about this whole rum business.
Also, I'm noticing we got the like, pier thing again. So something's gonna pop up here, probably. What's that?
The fact that the instantaneous kinesis itself was a success.
Ah.
After the explosion...
Wait, wrong voice.
After the explosion, the cage with the fellow inside suddenly appeared out of nowhere in midair. So although the experiment ended in disaster, the so-called instantaneous kinesis did actually occur.
Remind us, Professor, what was the cause of the fatal disaster? A minor miscalculation. Yeah.
Hold it!
But it ended up being a very major one, because he fucking died, bro. So the angle of the projection's critical, is it? And you calculate it yourself, personally? Absolutely. The calculation is far too complicated for anyone but Mick to carry out.
Only you got it wrong, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. That's the point. The calculation is so complicated, even I can make a mistake. Do people fall for that brazen confidence? I should try it. It took into account the subject's height and weight, the wind direction, the ambient temperature. I considered every possible variable, so I just don't understand how this could have possibly happened. Obviously, then, you had to include the weight of the clothes Mr. Asman was wearing at the time, I suppose. Ah. Correctly in comments, the answer should have been 3! Or, what is the other one? Dre? It's Dre for 3 in German. So much for safety first. The 3 must be for safety third. Alright, well, let's hear about this fatal wound then. Another fatal injury, you say? That doesn't make any sense.
I didn't think I'd have to spell this out, but here we go. Just because there are 2 fatal wounds doesn't mean I'm saying the victim had 2 lives to lose, does it?
2, right.
Obviously, at first, we thought the bloke had died due to his spine snapping in half as well.
But you're saying that's not the case.
You'll get your answer once I finish my fish and chips, if you don't keep butting in every few seconds.
We all know that's a bottomless bag.
The victim plummeted 30 feet into a glass tower. It would be reasonable to assume that's the cause of death. Right, that's what we all thought, but it was a red herring, wasn't it?
Nothing to press so far.
Hold it!
The defense knew nothing of this crucial information.
The prosecution received this report from the forensic investigation team only this morning. That was the first we knew of it as well. I can only apologize for the impossibility of informing the defense.
Sarcastic and insincere? Thanks. Hey, I mean, at least he doesn't hold it on purpose, like a certain somebody. Very funny. So, what was the nature of this sharp object?
Among the accused tools that were in use at the demonstration, one is in particular interest.
This... Oh, the screwdriver thing again?
Oh yes, that would appear to be some kind of...
Ha 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 ha! There he is! My trusty little companion, Andrew! Andrew, of course. Haha, do you know each other already? He is one of my dear friends, like all my tools. I've named them all, you know. We're one big happy family. Andrew is my flathead screwdriver, of course. His brother Michael is a crosshead.
Well, it would appear that your beloved Andrew has a red stain on his shank.
That isn't...
It's blood. Beyond all reasonable doubt.
No.
And that's not all.
I like how this still counts as testimony. Even though different music's playing, it's really weird.
The long, sharp shape of this Andrew fellow is completely consistent with the victim's wound.
What?
Order! The court will enter this friend of the defendant as evidence.
Oh, we got the screwdriver now. Okay, that's important. So one of Professor Hairbrain's tools is the murder weapon. Great. Alright, let's examine that, because that's gonna be important. Alright. Well, let's see. Professor Hairbrain's trusty screwdriver that he's named Andrew. There are traces of blood at the tip, and it matches the shape of the victim's wound. Okay, well... what the hilt? Will we examine that? I've seen this unusually shaped handle before. It's the same screwdriver that was lodged in the grill on the floor of the kinesis machine. Which could be important information, so I should definitely make note of it. Oh. So maybe the screwdriver fucked up the trajectory. Okay, and then the blood is obviously important. This is blood. Mr. Asman's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at the meta weapons. Is there anything else to examine? On the bottom, maybe? Nope, okay. I have an idea then on what to present. Well, I should press this, just in case. Plus, I like extra dialogue. What grounds do you have for saying that?
Huh, Do you really need to ask? There were only 2 people in the public experimentation stage, in front of the whole crowd. The victim, Mr. Oliasman, and the accused, Professor Hairbrain. And we know for certain that before the experiment, the victim was alive.
That's right. I saw with my own eyes.
Furthermore, following the explosion and kinesis, nobody went anywhere near the body. In other words, only someone else on the stage.
Great Scott!
Oh, he said something.
Only someone else on the stage with the victim could possibly have done it.
Okay, what's this all about?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Professor Hairbrain, do you have some information that may be relevant here? Professor! Ah, sorry. I was just calculating the optimum coefficient of what the fuck is that word? Electrolysis? To separate molecules in the human body. And a witness stand is the best place for that? I'm mixing up my W's and D's now subconsciously. It seems as though you might have something to say about Inspector Gregson's last remark. Yeah, that's right, of course. He just said that nobody else could have done it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Who else could have stabbed the victim, eh?
I don't know, but there's no way I could have possibly stabbed Mr. Asman, as you say.
Huh.
Explain, please, Professor. Of course, these cold-hearted policemen may not be aware, I suppose. But humans are warm-blooded mammals with blood running continuously through their veins.
I'd heard.
Then surely, you see, if I plunge something the size of Andrew into the man's chest, the whole stage would have been a bloodbath. No, a blood swimming pool. Ah. But thousands of Londoners were watching me at the time. And yet none of them claims to have seen a swimming pool of blood.
Well, no, I suppose not.
You see? Not one.
True. I didn't see anything like that.
Well done, Professor. That was a great counter-argument. Was it, though? He seemed like he just pulled something out of his ass, honestly.
Order!
It's time for his own bloodbath of wine.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy if I savor a drop of my hallowed chalice to accompany my old friend's adducing. Here's to you, Albert.
Oh, you're too kind, Berk. But I'm really not a patch on you. Immediately throws away the wine.
Nah, you're not.
Non? Nine?
You've neglected to mention one crucial possibility.
I have.
A particular situation in which very little bleeding would result from a stab wound. Ah, of course. Inspector, enlighten the court, please. Yes, sir.
Where are they going with this? Are they gonna mention how, like, if you stab the victim, like, the blood doesn't come out immediately or something? I don't know.
Very well. You'll amend your formal testimony now, Miss Inspector Gregson.
Are we just gonna, like, are we just gonna be constantly going back and forth with these two buttheads the entire time?
The weapon the victim was stabbed with must have been left in his body whilst he was beamed through the air.
Is that so? Well, I can already present a counter-argument to that, but I'll press it anyways. Why did you think that, Inspector?
With any wound, it's only when you pull the weapon out that the profuse bleeding occurs. Whilst it's still lodged in the body, it acts as a stopper of sorts, for want of a better word.
I see.
You don't need a medical degree to be aware of this fact. It's common knowledge for any investigator.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's been made clear with, like, every Ace Attorney game. Like, especially, like, Trials and Tribulations, I think. It was made very clear. Where's Zato-san when you need her?
If you ask me, this bloke masked what he was doing from the view with his body before stabbing Absman in the chest. Then he beamed the victim off the stage with his fancy device, the screwdriver still where he planted it.
I would never do such a thing. Not my precious tools. I would never use them for such dirty work. You only use tools for their intended purpose. That's common knowledge for any scientist.
The fact remains, the lack of blood at the scene can be easily explained, as the prosecution has demonstrated.
So that's all the testimony I have to work with. I had no idea the victim had been stabbed. That changes everything. Did Van Zieks keep that to himself now on purpose to gain the advantage? Oh well, I suppose all I can do is press these witnesses for as much new information as possible. Well, I already know what to present, so... I mean, hopefully I'm right about this, but I'm gonna present it again. So he says the weapon... He says the weapon was still in his body, but we already know it was still in the machine.
Objection!
You say that while the weapon remains in the body, there's very little bleeding. Is that unequivocal?
Look, there was no blood on the experimentation stage, even though that's where the fellow was stabbed. The only explanation for that is that if the screwdriver was still in his body, stopping a heavy bleeding. It's common medical knowledge, my learned friend, even on your side of the world.
Yes, but what about this screwdriver? The thing is, we actually saw it at the scene ourselves on the experimentation stage.
What?
It was on the floor by the wreckage of the machine, poking through a metal grill. I went to pick it up, but the detective here stopped me. Isn't that right, Inspector Gregson?
Now you come to mention it, yes. Inspector, are we to understand that you permitted the defense counsel to investigate? That you contravened the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? No, not at all. I wouldn't do that. I just let him look, nothing more. It was very clear he wasn't to touch a thing.
Yes, that's true. This screwdriver was in plain sight on the stage. But it shouldn't have been, should it?
What are you getting at?
If this tool had still been in the victim's body when the victim was beamed away by the machine, then it shouldn't have still been on the stage. That's right. It should have been beamed across to the Crystal Tower along with Mr. Asman. And been still lodged in the victim's chest. Oh, hell yeah. It's the title screen.
Oh!
There goes all his chips.
Order! How do you explain this, Inspector?
I
Looks as though everything the victim had on his person moved with him when he was beamed. If the screwdriver was still in his chest when the instantaneous kinesis occurred, obviously that should have been beamed to the destination as well. This is a strange situation. Even though people are saying that this instantaneous kinesis is a scientific impossibility, we're still basing arguments on the assumption that it did actually take place. Alright, time to tighten the screws here. My lord, if the prosecution's unable to explain this inconsistencies in its argument, we can only conclude that the testimony given in support cannot be relied upon. Oh wow, yeah. Lord Van Zieks is stumped. Yeah, he really doesn't know. He's gonna have to come up with something quick. The fuck was that? Hold it.
Do you have something to say, witness?
Yeah, I knew it. It bears out. The equation hold. Mr. Naruhodo, don't worry. About what? Without delving into the details, there is no inconsistency. I guess I was right to give him that voice then, because it sounded pretty similar. What? Even if Andrew had been lodged into Mr. Asman's chest, my trusty tool wouldn't have moved. Andrew remaining on the stage is consistent with my calculations. What? Well, no more wine, I guess.
It would seem your illusions have been shattered. Clearly, we should hear the accused's explanation. Or should I say, this brilliant scientist's explanation?
Just when I found an inconsistency in the prosecution's argument. Scientists.
Very well. The defendant will testify again. Provide us with scientific explanation as to why the inconsistency asserted by the defense fails to hold.
In the name of Apollo, I will, my lord. Oh, now it's just him explaining. The inconsistency explained. To be clear, I'm still at the stage of gathering data in my research. My hypothesis states that the kinesis cannot transport metal, though. Hence, the metal weapon would have stayed put. In other words, the point just raised by Mr. Naruto isn't an inconsistency at all. Mr. Asman was my patron of mine research. Without him, my work wouldn't have been possible. Now, I have a duty to protect the incredible machine that we built together. We don't know what to say, I guess.
So, the thrust of your testimony, of your oh, man, I'm just really out of it today. The thrust of your testimony, Professor, is
that based upon his hypothesis, metal objects cannot be moved by this method of instantaneous kinesis.
In other words,
since the screwdriver is made of metal, even if it remained lodged in the victim's chest, its subsequent discovery on the stage, despite the victim being found elsewhere, is not an inconsistency.
And therefore,
Professor Albert Harebrain could still have been the killer.
My great hypothesis holds, you see. We had to make the cage used to contain the object from wood for that very reason.
I was not addressing you, witness.
Professor Harebrain? Yeah. Whose side are you on here? I don't take sides, Mr. Naruto. 999. My only interest lies upon upholding my research, mine hypothesis. I'm a scientist, after all. Is he working for us or against us? It's very hard to tell.
Let's see how you cross-examine this testimony, my learned Nipponese friend.
Yeah, fire away, Mr. Naruto. Well, let's see how this is gonna go. I'm just taking a sip of my juice. Alright, well, let's see what kind of bullshit's gonna come out of this guy's ass. Hold it! And yet your retort to my argument wasn't lacking in confidence in any way. 9 scientists can find the truth without first finding self-belief. Those beliefs were the word of a certain scientist I hold in very highest esteem. But you realize that disproving my argument puts you in a very precarious position, don't you? 9 scientists should strive to protect himself more than he strives to protect the truth. More words of the same great scientist, you know? Words that are causing me a lot of trouble. Who is this scientist? I'm afraid I couldn't tell you, Mr. Naruto. But as soon as I've remembered the magnificent genius's name, you'll be the first to know. It might be worth keeping the names of your idols to mind.
You're wasting your breath, my learned friend. This scatterbrain even forgets my name at times.
He only cares about his science. So Lord Van Ziegs really did have a friend once, but I didn't know his hell freezing over. I mean, I feel like he's talking about, like, Albert Einstein or something, because obviously that would make the most sense, but you never know. Your hypothesis states it, so this isn't proven then. No, no, 9-9, of course not. It's merely a hypothesis, but a good one, based upon thousands of calculations. But it is widely known that metals can't be decomposed by electrolysis. Yeah, of course. So I am right. My hypothesis is clearly correct. What is it about incriminating himself that makes this man so happy? It's the whole reason that the birdcage is made of wood, you see. Sorry, the birdcage? Yeah, that's what I call the obtusa cage, in which Mr. Asmund was placed in for kinesis.
Ah, the jail in which the victim was detained. It does indeed seem to be made of a timber of some sort.
I think you now not to refer as an instrument of incarceration, your lordship.
In short, any weapon lodged in the victim when he was found beamed away by instantaneous kinesis would have been left behind on the stage if it was made of metal, correct?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It all fits perfectly with the medical model.
But the ultimate conclusion, then, is that the defendant alone had the opportunity to inflict this fatal injury on the victim, is it not?
Ah!
Ah, indeed, sir.
Someone beam me out of this nightmare. Damn. We're not really getting anywhere, are we? I think we just gotta keep pressing. You seem to be pleased by that. Yeah, another example of my hypothesis holding true. But I sense some sarcasm, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you not pleased? No. I knew it. At the end of the day, I'm the one responsible for Mr. Asmund losing his life. The advancement of science is no excuse, I know that. No, you're quite right.
Tell the court, did you have a close relation with Mr. Asmund?
Oh, well, not really. I mean, I'd only met him 2 or 3 times. And we only ever discussed my hypothesis and the project, and the research grant, of course. Well, that seems like a bit more important. Hold it! How did you come to know Mr. Asmund in the first place? A year ago now, a small provincial science journal published a little paper about my work.
That's a scientific journal? Good gracious, I should need new spectacles.
I might have had an extraordinary hypothesis and great promise, but at the time, I had no money. I had to eat tiny little meals at tiny little cafe and drink watered down water out of my tiny little glass. But Mr. Asmund read the paper and came to visit me at my tiny little laboratory.
And offered you money to help fund your work.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I handled the theoretical side of things, and Mr. Asmund provided me with the engineer for the practical. And the 3 of us produced that fantastic machine together. The machine that you brought to the Great Exhibition to demonstrate. We had to supply the government for some sort of inspection to be allowed to exhibit, I think. I didn't understand all that side of things. Mr. Asmund took care of all of it. He was a wonderful man, really. I owe him everything. Oh yeah, we aren't getting shit here. When you say that you built the machine together, does that mean you were involved in its construction? Yeah. Well, not exactly. I'm not good with the practical side of machines myself, so the physical construction was done by an engineer.
Little remains of a creation now, though, following the explosion. Repair will no doubt be impossible.
Yeah. I realize that, but still. If someone were to gather all the broken parts, they could discover the secret of my hypothesis. But Mr. Asmund and I toiled over that machine for so long, we put our hearts and souls into it. I have to protect our work. So what's left of the machines must be kept safe. That's only fair, because what happened was an accident. That's the extent of the testimony, then. Thank goodness for that. I don't want him doing any more damage. He's already basically proven that he could have been the culprit. But it seems though all he really cares about is defending his hypothesis. Still, I wonder, what if his hypothesis is just fundamentally flawed? So I gotta prove that somehow? How? What do I even have? A diagram showing the relative positions of the Crystal Town and Professor Harebrain's machine. Is there anything I can present here? I mean, he is kind of wearing metal, isn't he? Like, what about the monocle? That has a bit of metal on it. Or is that not made of metal? I don't know. Do I present the screwdriver again? And I'm assuming there's nothing to present regarding the paper, right? Well, let's look through and see if we can find something. I don't know. I have a dumb idea. I mean, there's the cloth, obviously. He doesn't have any green cloth on him, though. Is this actually metal? Like, this kind of looks like metal, doesn't it? I'm gonna try it.
Objection!
Oh wow, I actually got it. Professor, you say that according to your own hypothesis, nothing made of metal can be beamed by instantaneous kinesis using the machine you made, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Spot on. Exactly correct. In that case, I'd ask you to have a look at this photograph that was taken at the scene. In particular, I'd like you to pay attention to the victim's face. You can clearly see that Mr. Asman's wearing a pair of spectacles with a metal rim. Oh, dude, I was right about that? Holy shit. What? Metal? 9! Metal? That's metal? 9! We've already established that the proposed meta weapon, the screwdriver, was found on the stage. However, if your hypothesis correctly predicted that outcome, it should also predicted that the metal-rimmed spectacles would be found in the same place. Ah! My hypothesis! My hypothesis! Professor Harebrain, this isn't easy for me to say, but your hypothesis is clearly flawed. Oh! he's freaking out over there. Wow, I can't believe that. That was such a deep cut, too. I'm surprised I got that.
Order! Council, what's the implication of this?
If on the day in question the alleged instantaneous kinesis never actually took place, then it's entirely possible that the victim was killed somewhere other than on the stage. And in that case, someone other than the defendant could have been the culprit. But my hypothesis is sound. I proved it that day. The experiment was a success. The experiment was proof of all my work.
If I could say something here, in my capacity as a fellow of the Royal Society. Yes, Joe number 4. Go ahead. As a man of science, there's one thing I simply cannot abide. And that's a fraud who pretends to be a fellow man of science.
What? Wait. Great Scott, are you suggesting my science is suspect?
It's just been disproved, hasn't it? In front of all of us. In other words, the whole demonstration was a complete nonsense from start to finish. Believe me, my fellow jurors, when I tell you that this is a man of heel, a bounder, and a fraud. I say the wreckage of that machine should be stripped down and thoroughly examined.
No, never! That machine is the essence of my entire hypothesis. It's protected by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act.
What the devil is that blasted act all about, eh?
Who made up such a daft rule? I don't like the way this seems to be going. What's the best way for me to help the professor? Raise objection?
Objection!
Professor Hairbrain is yet to perfect his invention. That would seem to be the case, yes. But even so...
Even so, what?
Going to such trouble and expense to create a fake machine display in public. He would absolutely have no reason to do such a thing. Oops, wrong button.
Objection!
Oh.
He had an obvious reason to do exactly that. For the research grant money. If the government was foolish enough to have deemed the man's ridiculous notion plausible, he and his conspirators would have received a handsome sum indeed.
Conspirators? What would be the value of such a grant? £10?
You're an order of magnitude out, madam. £500 a year.
Oh, you could have had ransom on that money for years.
The Society's noticed an increase in bogus public demonstrations in the field of science recently. And plenty of scientists arguing with each other get the largest slice of the funding cake. People's greed is plenty motive enough for murder, I assure you.
999. Ich haven't deceived anyone, least of all the government. Mine hypothesis is sound. The science is sound. Please, you must believe me.
Objection!
No matter how unbelievable this hypothesis may seem to you, ladies and gentlemen, the fact remains that the victim was transported instantly to the Crystal Tower. Which means that the experiment was a success.
Ha, Barrack.
And therefore, the only person who could have possibly committed this murder is the accused.
Oh, Barrack. Where is this heading? I have no idea. Also, I like how fucking Van Zeeks did like a double point. That was really weird.
My lord, if I may.
Yes, Lord Van Zeeks.
The prosecution would like to summon a new witnesses to the stand.
Oh, 2 new witnesses.
New witnesses? What will be the nature of their involvement?
Is one of them the frickin' coroner?
They were spectators of the demonstration and exhibition, who are occupying the special seats.
Eyewitnesses?
Very well. The court grants the prosecution's request.
Oh boy, we're gonna get even more jokers?
I should very much like to hear from the eyewitnesses to this incident.
The prosecution's stance is clear. The experiment was no postiche. The accused killed the financier victim out there on the stage, before the very eyes of the spectators. Now, my learned friend.
Oh, yes?
It's time for you to make your own stance clear.
There's clearly a flaw in the professor's hypothesis. I can definitely see that. But where does that leave me?
We shall take a short recess now, during which time the prosecution will prepare new witnesses to take the stand.
Wow, that was a really short one. We're already doing a recess?
As you wish, my lord.
Good. In that case, court's adjourned for 20 minutes.
Well, that's a really soon to be continued. We barely did diddly squat, man. Even if you take into account the beforehand, that's still only like an hour. Well, fuck it. Who cares about the to be continued anymore? Hell, I might even be able to beat this entire trial segment in one go. Get some good juice in during that. Mr. Naruhodo! What on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather... what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis, you've been picking holes in it from the start. Sorry about that. But you promised me! You said you'd prove that dreaded explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. but all you've done so far is try to undermine me. Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I believe you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? Ha, but if I just run through some equations... Yeah, you see, it's because my work is incomplete. Perhaps it is. Nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh, 9! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. And I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster. Not just as a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject... what about Barak? He's being awful. Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean? He's a disaster, not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but 9. Wait, he's a Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore. Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you? Ah, yeah, what? The machine and demonstration repaired. They were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume. There was no trickery involved? I drew the plans for the machine with my own very hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with the firm belief that science is the only future. So yeah, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Arahor, you must believe in it. Alright, Professor. I understand.
Counsel, defendant! The prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court's about to be in session again. Make your way to the courtroom, please.
It all hinges on that demonstration. If the Professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could have possibly killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant.
A practical implementation, such as was attempted by the Professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible.
So really, what should I be trying to prove here? I have no idea. I'm already getting hungry again. Kinda crazy. It's 11 a.m. Actually, it is almost 11 a.m. over here. It's 10:54 right now, funnily enough.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witnesses to testify?
The prosecution's ready, my lord. As is defense, my lord.
So, Lord Van Zeeks, I believe these next witnesses saw the demonstration on the day in question with their own eyes.
Indeed they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. Oh, is it the guy? So, the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. A detective all people. I think that was meant to be sarcasm. The prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused.
Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position's clear. So, bring forth your witnesses now.
Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. Oh boy, what kind of jokers are we gonna get now? Oh my god. There's no fucking way. Oh, and Gina's here.
Witnesses, state your names and occupations for security here.
Oh my god, what kind of voice do I give these guys? Oh man. I genuinely don't know.
My name's Balthazar Loon. I am the impresario of the all hot air balloons in vicinity of the Esperanto stage.
Oh, he's actually German. Holy shit.
My name is Wilhelm Gostrich Sigmund Ormstein. I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia.
Wow, he is actually German. Like, what the fuck? I was giving Albert the German voice, but this guy is actually gonna get the German voice.
I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective, even Sherlock Holmes agrees. I was on security duty at this exhibition, and I got up to go up in one of them balloons. It was amazing.
Gina again. But she did mention that she'd seen the disaster up from the balloon, actually, didn't she? And she clearly loved every minute of it. Oh my god, my voices are just gonna get worse. They're all over the place.
There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred.
And I'm yawning, goddamn. I don't know, man. I think just like voicing and voice acting like for an hours on end really tires you out easily. I don't know how the VAs do it.
2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time and saw events unfold from the skies above. You make it sound like they're in the clouds. It was only an altitude of circa 60 feet, very low.
Well, you can't see nothing if you're too flying high, can ya?
60 feet. About 18 meters then.
Thank you for your introductions. Now, you'll give your formal testimony for the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point from above the stage.
Wig greets Ace Attorney. Thanks, Luke.
It was an incident terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons are not damaged.
There's this huge bang from up the stage, and the next second, another bang in the sky beside us. And from amid the smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
The cage fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower.
I think I'm gonna have to give that guy like an Italian voice or something.
I didn't get a good look inside the stage, but no one went near it after it crashed into the tower.
I'm too focused on my stupid voices that I'm barely even like taking in this testimony. But oh, don't worry, we'll get a chance to read it again.
Most extraordinary collective amount, I must say.
Or count, not amount. Can I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness's testimony that I've not heard any mention until now. Specifically, that there were 2 explosions.
More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes. When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying 2 witnesses was around here. There were 2 other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear.
Bam.
Then, as power was supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called birdcage that contains the victim disappeared from the stage, and a moment later...
Wow.
The second explosion occurred, directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witnesses.
Boom.
The birdcage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower.
I was very surprised. Suddenly, a cage appeared before my eyes, with a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so I kept my eyes wide.
He just keeps on getting those balloons.
I still have lots of money.
Precisely, who is this curious infant?
I'm told he's a young noble of Bohemian royalty. Apparently, he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the great exhibition.
Yeah, I'm here in London as a sightseeing trip with my elementary student.
We will have the benefit of the child's point of view in the testimony.
We got this fucking clown music again. Do we really need that?
Then I've removed my mask. This is what I look like.
Ah, yes, I see. A delightful face, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody says so.
Great disguise, then. He's starting to sound a bit more Swedish now. Oh no.
The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiate the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the crystal tower where the victim fell.
The slam stops the clown music.
Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Asman on the stage, could possibly have committed the murder.
Yes, thank you, counsel. The prosecution's view on the matter are quite clear. Yes, quite. So, the defense's cross-examination now, please.
Yes, my lord. Oh boy. What are we gonna present here? Or press, or whatever. The view from 60 feet up. Actually, maybe he's French, not Italian. I don't know. What language is that? Incidente? You know what? We're gonna look this up because I want to make sure I'm gonna voice this guy correctly for how little screen time he's gonna get. Let's see. Let's go to good old Google Translate. Well, let's see. French. Yeah, that looks French. He's using the male. He's using the masculine form of incident. But it's also Italian, damn it. Well, let's see what else I can pull up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it is Italian. Because the spelling is the same. Yeah, okay. He's definitely Italian, then. I mean, I'm just gonna assume he's Italian because he got a funny mustache.
Hold it!
There were 3 balloons flying above the experimental stage at the time, I understand. See. Oh, wait, no. He's Spanish. Is he? Wait, no. Is C also Italian? I think it is. Let me double check. Yeah, it is. He's definitely Italian. See, all 3 of them. My bellissimi bambini. Okay, yeah, that settles it, because bambini is fucking Italian for, like, child. Or whatever, I think. They were very popular, signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride. Signor. Wow, these voices are gonna get stupider and stupider. Hold on. Oh my god, I'm like so immersed in like trying to figure out what fucking language this guy is. Italiano. Yep, it's no doubt it's Italian. £10? That's more than my annual stipend.
£20 a month. That is my pocket money.
Where's all the luck?
I got up there for free, I did. Played the old work I work for Majesty's police car, you know.
Detectives have all the luck. If they're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though? Because if I have too many in the skies, they could crash into each other. Wait, oh. What do you mean stupider and stupider? Nah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't have as many voices to do before, but now I have like 3 different fucking accents to do at once. It's like I'm doing Italian, German, and now like Scottish. It's like so many goddamn voices I gotta do. It's getting complicated. Oh, and Russian, because I'm making Van Zeek's Russian.
The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area.
See, and the one above the experimentation stage is the most profitable. The other impresarios, they hate me.
Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangements for balloon rides at the exhibition. Perhaps we could hear more about what you actually witnessed at the witnessed of the incident.
Right, I can feel you in there, my lord.
Alright, let's press that. I'll start presenting once I press everything. So you actually saw the incident happen from up here in the air.
Yup, ain't it amazing what a detective can do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer's a mug's game. You should join the force and we can go flying together.
You know me so well. Yes, well, anyway. Could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think?
Everything. We saw everything, because we up above it and all. That dodgy cove climbing up to the stage, and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's when it happened. That's when there was that massive bang, and the cage disappeared, just like that.
You're describing the moment the subject's body was decomposed by electricity, I believe.
I didn't know what to make of it, but then there was another bang, right in my ear. I looked around, and there was a great fireball next to us in the sky, and there was nothing there before.
What's little Mr. Jimmy got to say about this?
Excuse me.
Master Gotts, does your memory of the day differ?
My teacher at elementary school says that when you meet someone for the first time, you should always use their full name.
Ah, yes, what was it again?
Wilhelm Gottfried Sigmund Ormstein.
Just the 4 names then? The point is, do you have something to say? Something to add in response to Detective Gina Lestrange's last remark, perhaps?
Oi, get it right, Odo. It's Inspector Lestrade.
Why does everyone have a problem with how I dress them at the moment?
That is not what I saw.
Oh?
Yeah, there was a second explosion, and it was right beside a balloon. That is true. But I'm sure...
Which is what I said, in it. 1 minute there was nothing there. The next moment, a massive explosion.
My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, most awful life imaginable.
Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy?
Just before the second explosion happened next to a balloon, I clearly witnessed a green balloon flying in the sky.
A green balloon?
Eh, you what? Never saw nothing like that. Well, I did. I saw it, and you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I'm Bohemian Prince. You cannot say it's a lie. That's not allowed.
Playing the blatant royalty card, are you? Typical. Says the orphan likes to remind people she works for Her Majesty's police.
In that case, young man, I must ask you to amend your formal testimony. In the interests of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia.
Where the hell is Bohemia, anyway? I'm not very good with geography. It'd be nice if I could type it correctly. It's the westernmost and largest historical region of the Czech Republic. Really now. Well, it is also apparently German, so... Let's see. Okay. Good to know. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning about my nations. So he's from the Czech Republic, apparently. Yeah, I mean, I am part Scottish, so I can pull off a somewhat decent Scottish accent.
It was not the sky that exploded. It was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time.
Alright, well, I'm holding that. A green balloon, you say? Are you sure about that?
Of course I'm sure. I'm a proud Bohemian prince. All these questions are making me boring.
I think you mean bored.
Ach, English is very annoying. The language of the countrymen is far superior.
Ragazor, it is very wrong to lie.
Lie?
Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason, planets never explode. It is logical. Please tell me that doesn't mean logical.
If you insult men, you insult all of Bohemia.
Madai!
I will have the army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky. All of them.
But he still wants a balloon anyway. Here you are, your highness. If only all international incidents were so easily resolved. Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to see testimony? Did you also see the moments as the cage materialized, Mr. Loon? No, I did not see the explosion myself. However... You see, he's just getting the Mario voice, because fuck it. The cage fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower. Did you see that actually happen? No. In reality, I did not. I saw after it hit the tower. There was a grand confusion around the stage. I ran to see what had happened. I was sterilized by the idea that one of my balloons had crashed. I suppose they are his livelihood. But when I looked up into the sky, all my precious balloons are still there.
I saw it though. I saw him slam into the tower. After all, I'm a detective now.
Then tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade.
That's what I like to hear. I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near after it crashed into the tower.
Alright, well, let's press that. Was it you who gave the order to keep people away?
Use your head, Odo. How could have been me? I was up in the balloon, weren't I?
Right.
So, because I wasn't available, it was the boss who had to leg it over there. He was getting shoved and kicked all over the panicking spectators as he tried to seal off the scene. He was a real sight to behold, I can tell you. Amazing.
Oh, Inspector Gregson.
So anyway, I couldn't see the cage that well because of all the smoke. And I didn't really want to see it, to be honest. I was scared out me wits.
Keep it together, Inspector. The prosecution really is asserting that the demonstration was genuine. But what if it was actually some kind of switch-around trick instead? That would mean that the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. The two explosions would have been throwing everyone watching into a panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. What the hell am I gonna do here? Well, I feel like it has something to do with this. Because... well, what do we even have to look at? Oh! What about this green cloth? This, maybe it's this. Can I present the green cloth? Let's see. Huh. Can I present... wait, hang on. I'm only grateful that my balloons were not damaged. I'm gonna save, because I haven't saved in a while, but... I can prove otherwise. I just don't know what statement to present it on. I mean, what else could I present? I mean, one other thing is the experiment sketch. Wait a minute, why is there only 2 balloons in this one? It could also be this. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Torn piece of canvas-like material backed with rubber that was found under the experimentation stage. Yeah. Can I present this?
Objection!
Oh, no, I think I did the wrong thing. Fuck. That last thing will seem to be odds somehow with the evidence.
It is your task, House, to explain the somehow to the court, not the other way around.
It just seems to the jaw, though, don't you think?
What I think is that this whole exchange has been extremely jarring, yes.
Perhaps I need to reconsider this. Fuck. Can I press this again? I don't think anything, anything new here. I didn't even mean to press anyway. It's not like, it's not like we're getting any, like, people here, you know? Well, he says here that my, my balloons were not damaged, but we know that's bullshit, because there was a green cloth here.
Objection!
Yeah, there we go. Just had to do it on this statement. Mr. Loon, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of the balloons you'd operating at the time were undamaged. See, that is correct. If they'd been caught in the explosions, it would have been terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is. Ah, I think it may be... See, part of a balloon. A burnt piece of the fabric, that envelope. Sorry, the envelope. Pardon me. That is the large round part of the balloon which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from a very thick fabric lined with rubber. You do not want to rip it when you're in the sky. Just as I thought. This piece of cloth was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gotts testified. A green balloon did indeed explode that day. Eh? If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Loon, then your statement that they're all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No! I love his fucking stupid hat.
If a balloon exploded that day, why didn't the man say so? Maybe everyone on board was killed. Oh no, having just spent total pounds for the experience, how awful. Seems to me like the thing crashed 50%.
The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stage, the point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon.
Causing the balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible.
An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. I cannot accept.
Why not, Mr. Loon?
You're suggesting that I'm a liar. That person's died in a balloon incident. There's no need to get fired up, Mr. Loon. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I can prove it. Balthazar Loon is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It is not possible.
You're saying it's impossible? Why?
This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day.
Oh. But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord, the defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Loon.
I concur. There's clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye, like Transformers. It's imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel.
Well, I mean, they didn't even have Transformers back in the Meiji era.
Witness, you'll give supplementary testimony about the balloons you're operating at the exhibition.
Ah, grazie, my lord. So is it just him now? No, it's all three of them. Okay. Well, I'm gonna do this in a bit. I gotta go pee, so I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I just went to, fill the water jug again, because it was getting kind of low. But, I do want to point out something before we do this testimony. I find it really funny that this is the second case now where we've had to, like... The case has not really been so much about, like, the machine, and it's turned into something really stupid. It's like, in the second case, we're examining gas, and now this case, we're investigating balloons. It's really funny. I don't know if there's gonna be, like, a running gag for the whole game, or we're just gonna investigate, like, something really silly for one of the trials, but... I don't know, it's funny. I just like doing it. It's, like, dumb. And somehow it ends up coming back around to being important to the case. It's, like, crazy. As I said, Balthazar Loon is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe!
But you can't get away from the fact that a bit of cloth was found at the scene, can you? The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris thrown from the explosion on the stage.
This stupid Oragazzo's mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. What if it's like a different balloon? It was like some other guy's balloon. I don't know.
So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you?
Si, exactamente. If he saw a balloon in the first place. I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia.
If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war or not war.
Proceeds to get balloon. What happened to all-out war? Mr. Loon certainly doesn't appear to be lying. So is the only reason his name is Mr. Loon is because he sells balloons? Is that the pun there? Well, it is the pun, but still, it sounds pretty silly. I don't know what Baltazar means, but maybe it means something in Italian. I don't know. Let's go. Google Translate again. Because there's so many different like names. There's so many different names that I just didn't like know. I guess I might as well talk about this now since I don't know any other time I'm gonna mention it, but a lot of characters I didn't understand the puns in their names. Like, for example, Raymond Bami is Remember Me. And I don't think I pointed this out till now, but I remember seeing that in a video, people pointing out like, yeah, that's her name. And then the gas company from the second case, they have a B theme to them, which I never even noticed. Like Adrian B. Meterman, Lady Quinn B. Like, I didn't even notice that either. It's like, I don't know how I didn't notice that shit. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah, there's probably gonna be more puns that I'm gonna miss out on. I mean, actually, now would be a good time to probably look at the court record and look at the people we have here. It's like we got a bunch of doofuses here. The impresario of short pleasures, voyages, and flying balloons. The balloons above the experimental stage all belong to this man. Bohemian Boy. His name is so fucking long, they didn't even bother putting all of it. A young prince from the royal family of Bohemia with an excessively long name. He witnessed the explosion at the Great Exhibition. Okay. Well, I don't really know what a Czech or Bohemian accent sounds like, so I'm just doing like a really shitty German/Swedish one. Sure, maybe that's, you know, weird, but it's whatever. That doesn't change the fact that the testimony evidence here are contradictory.
If the defense is unable to find fault with the witness's statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend.
The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes.
Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses.
Oh boy. Kind of wild shit we're gonna have here. Alright. Let's press. I'm gonna sneeze real quick. Alright. You couldn't have just forgotten one, maybe? Signor! I might have not have noticed if I was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grand and expensive? I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons.
It would appear no mistake has been made then.
Surely Miss Lestrade would have been sent for such a menial task.
What, me? I'll tell you what I tell the boss. East End kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss brought in and said he'd have to go it himself in case.
All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. Yeah, yada yada yada. It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Loon, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons up in the sky? Are you an idiota? Sorry? That is like asking, why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright, and a balloon flies because it flies. What else? It must be Italian for I don't know.
There are 2 types of flying balloons. Hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift by using a gas that is lighter than air.
See, and my balloons are filled with the magic gas, I believe. Well, I mean, judging by your hat, yeah.
Hydrogen. Lighter than air, but highly explosive. Good lord!
I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire. Fire!
Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode.
What is the matter with you, senor? All that comes out of your mouth is explosion, explosion. I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat. None of my balloons exploded that day, I'm completely sure. But if you still say this was what happened, you must show me the proof. Alright, so Mr. Loon had 3 balloons in the air that day. If none of them were damaged, then what was the one that was in his fucking face? Yeah, that is true. We don't know why that's there. I was surprised to find that piece of fabric still at the scene, actually. Didn't you search around that area? Didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues?
Nay, I'm not picking that stuff up off the ground, me. Always works out way better diving into people's pockets instead.
So much for the new career path.
Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is though, the cage went crashing into the crystal tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigation was going on.
Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered up his evidence.
Caw, listen to you, so you stumble across a bit of balloon and you're suddenly the best invader in the world.
Pardon?
Well, you ain't got a badge, are you? Like this one. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Come to think of it, there was a talk of some sketching on the ground at a meeting where they added the investigation.
Alright. There was considerable damage to the stage and the surrounding area, wasn't there?
Yeah, some of the cows were...
Oh my god. I'm butchering this so badly.
Some of the cows what were watching the experiment were caught in the blast and injured. Good job the old contraption didn't keel over, eh? I hadn't even considered that.
It seems there was a great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from the balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions.
Like me swiping all his fish and chips, eh?
The man saw pleasure.
None of this matters. A scrap of balloon envelope means nothing. Niente.
Alright, well, let's see what we have.
Hold it!
You mean the color's wrong?
Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse.
And yet, a piece of green cloth was found at the scene, and it's unmistakably from a balloon.
Well, I do not know how that can be.
For the sake of argument, let's say a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not?
There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree.
Well, do you have any fucking proof for that? At least I don't think so.
You believe that it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition?
Si, exactamente. As the ex-signor says, it is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw.
Well, he has something to say about it.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Master Gotts?
It's Master Wilhelm Gotstrick Sigmund Holstein.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon here. I swear it. I swear on all of Bohemia.
You can speak as much as bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh?
Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments.
Evidence? What is this evidence?
To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance. Some tangible proof of what you claim.
Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here.
Good gracious.
What?
I had not been up in the balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. I took lots and lots of photographs. Of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the Otseel cellar, of the balloon.
And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that?
Yeah, one picture.
Really? You did take one?
But all I wanted was a wider balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments.
Never mind that. Can you show us the photograph?
Of course, and then you will see. You will see that I'm not lying. That I really did see a green balloon.
Well, it's in sepia, though.
Well, I see you're all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it's a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault. It is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera. Ow, ow.
That's one very bohemian sounding cry. I don't even know what that even sounds like.
Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence.
Well, I mean, it is a photograph. It shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took this shot.
It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera.
Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. Alright, let me have a look though. This is probably important. Okay, let's see. So there is there's some white line going on here. I don't know what that is. You can see you know, hairbrain down there. The machine appears to be pointing straight instead of up, like it ended up being. That sounds correct. And I don't know if there's anything else worth noting in this picture, but hey, it's something. In any case, when exactly did you take that photograph?
Well, it was on the day of the big explosion.
You don't say.
When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rush over my face.
Oh, dude. What if does the camera have electricity in it? That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give a flying fig. Lovely language you picked up. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young bohemian boy claims to have seen another, fourth balloon, but Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. Well, let's see. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, there's also the fucking crossbow. What the hell is that light, even? Like, what is even being shot here? I could try the photograph right here. My balloons have red and blue zigzag stripes. I mean, we can't even see what's in... what's... It doesn't look like it has zigzags on it, so it's like some other balloon then. Okay. Oh, well, I didn't mean to do that. I probably should have just gone back to the first statement. Okay. Well, let's just try presenting the photograph and see what happens.
Objection!
Fuck. Fence would have to object to that last statement, my lord.
And I would have to overrule your objection, counsel.
The defense would have to accept the penalty given.
Glad to hear it. And you would also have to think again, huh?
Okay, so it's not that. So it's not that statement? All three of my balloons are carrying passengers. I mean, this is also a thing. If that is his balloon, there are no passengers in there.
Objection!
Yeah, okay, it's that. Unfortunately, the photograph Mr. Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it can tell us something else, something crucially important.
What?
It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers.
Oh, my goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There'd be no sense in it otherwise.
See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that the pictured balloon isn't one of them, so, when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. I know nothing, niente. I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine. Well, that's good, right?
Objection!
There are legal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly, one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition, and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing.
See, the competition, trying to steal my profits. I did not know this because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage. His fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below.
Right? So them scraps fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks. They didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of that balloon raining down. But because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention.
Mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue leader or traitor. Clearly it has nothing to do with this case. Its relevance does elude me, I must say. This court has sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded.
But what the hell are the jurors doing, though? Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity skip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? Yeah, there's more.
Objection!
What is that white line? That white flash? I don't know what that is. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. This photograph of Master Gots may well be hiding one more vital clue.
What's that?
A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now, so tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove?
The cause of the explosion? We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing of heat of the explosion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was not my fault.
Evidently, because the birdcage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon being filled with flammable hydrogen instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
No, that's not what happened.
What? It would appear that this photograph requires close examination. Counsel for the defense, you'll highlight the location of the alleged clue in this photograph for the court.
Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see, and what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way, that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is, this, like, flash right here.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to be pointing directly at the balloon.
Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort.
If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line is. Well, I already have evidence to prove what that is.
Goodness, what is that? Undeniably some flash of light, yes.
Oh, golly, do you think it might be lightning?
But it couldn't have been a finer day.
I believe we may be overlooking at fire.
A bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon, like an arrow. Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how exactly what did happen.
What evidence?
If such evidence... Oh, wait.
If such evidence exists, Counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man! Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be heading directly for the balloon?
The crossbow.
Take that!
This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene.
Good lord, is that a crossbow?
An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon.
Are you suggesting that crossbow was used deliberately?
Blimey, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it?
Then, the explosion of the balloon, it was... Very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it.
No!
Wow, is that the first time we've seen him recoil like that?
Order! Council, there's extraordinary supposition.
If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question, yeah, because the guns make noise.
The noise of the discharge, of course.
I mean, you could just get a silencer, but I don't know if those existed back then. That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently.
Well, yeah, if someone had shot the gun off at the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic.
But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, no? I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend?
If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that had ensued...
What? Wait a minute. What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what?
My goodness me!
Ah, now I understand. That's what sinking feeling's about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along.
What? Did I just hear that correctly, Council?
There's no going back now. The horse is bolted. Hold on, I gotta get a yawn out. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hid inside the green balloon from the start. Poof. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage and the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. Boom. Oh, wow. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared, to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day.
There's oh, good grief!
Objection!
This is ludicrous. What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A countable display of stage magic.
Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day.
And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that?
If I may put a word as a magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception.
Juror number 3.
All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looks very similar to the victim, Mr. Asman. Wow. And having this other man appear on the stage to front the show as a body double.
Ah, yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the 4 winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture.
Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend on the mixture ratio.
Juror number 4.
Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered.
The mixture ratio. Obviously, the victim's body would suffer some burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render the whole obscene charade impossible.
Well, I thought all the jurors are just like, nah, fuck you, I'm gonna explain something. So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred.
Well, goodness me.
And if we accept the fact this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asman, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with.
Ugh.
In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time.
Oh!
The point. This would be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Lord Van Zieks can't credibly maintain that Professor Hairbrain's a suspect now. Hold it. Who's holding? Oh. Mr. Arhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Professor? But you can stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please. Sorry?
What's all this about, Mr. Hairbrain?
I, Albert Hairbrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Odie Asman. Yes, yeah, it was me, with my faithful friend and partner, and Lucy Screwdriver. What are you doing?
Order! Order! Defendant, explain the sudden confession.
Professor Hairbrain, what are you talking about? It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand there and claim it was all a trick and an all elaborate prank, but where's your proof? 9. You've had to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would all be over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare, the integrity of it. It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor, if you'll just let me prove— Barak!
Yes. Whoops, wrong button.
I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please, ensure that the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to protect my creation. Oh, he's got a new wine glass. Let's go.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollow chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend.
What?
And his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in the light of the accused's confession.
Uh-oh.
Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth. However, if you acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder, any chance of investigating will be crushed, and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved.
I kind of like the notion of just like going and doing another examination. Honestly.
Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter?
What Professor Hairbrain, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on the stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of his hypothesis. But there's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold my client's request that I see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust.
You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind?
Oh no, he's doing the Phoenix thing.
Mr. Naruto!
There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. But it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something. But what? The defense asserts that the defendant's instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact... Fuck. Damn, I don't know, man. I mean, I could just pick both options to see what happens. You know what? I mean, unless this is one of those situations where, like, it doesn't matter what I pick and it's gonna lead me to a third thing. Let's see what happens. Ugh. No, I can't say it. My client places faith in me. I can't just let him down. Oh, who's saying that? What must I give up on is not the question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect? Susato?
Hello again, Mr. Naruhodo. It's been far too long.
Susato-san! But what do you do? Oh, frickin' Susato takedown. Oh, my first Susato takedown in 6 months.
There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruhodo. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand.
Oh, boy, am I glad to see you.
Which is working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect.
Professor Hairbrain. Huh, yeah? Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. Wait, wrong voice. Fuck. Yeah, of course! And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiments and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we both pursue now. Oh, there goes the wine glass.
So, you finally opened your eyes.
What?
And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer.
Ah.
Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say?
Berk.
Lord Van Zeeks. Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before.
I'm still curious on what the context is of Susato just being here all casual. In truth, there is one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance.
What?
On the day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow.
I beg your pardon?
Professor, did the man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like? Tall, taller than me, and thin, thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and whiter than mine. Let me see. One less lens than me. One less lens than me. A monocle, a rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to possibly identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention.
What?
He built the machine? That's right. Mr. Asman introduced me him 1 year ago. He's a man by the name of Enoch Drebber.
Enoch? Drebber? Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination.
Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either.
Who on earth is he?
I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascals after the government's research grant money.
When magicians are in need of money, I have heard of them resorting to these underhand tactics. Some acquaintances of mine with experience of such things have mentioned Enardreba's name before.
The man's both an engineer and a magician, yes. We're dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enardreba for ya.
Man, what's with this case and, like, science and magic both coming together? So we gotta find that guy. So it's true then. Mine invention, mine great machine, it was just a grand illusion. Considering what we've just heard about Mr. Dreba's character, I'm sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even so, no one else believed it. I wanted to. I wanted to believe that machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. Which is why you're so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew that if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, it didn't want to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I've worked towards, all of my research, all of my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect. So you really had no idea then, did you? About the true nature of the machine that was built, and the true nature of Mr. Dreba. I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. It's entirely possible that Mr. Asman and Mr. Dreba were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. Damn, that sucks. When I announced my invention to all the crowds that day, it was the finest moments of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Dreber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. But I really don't know the whole situation was made to work. I don't know anything more. Stop pressing that button. Stop pressing X. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting this necessary paperwork to release your invention from the protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Yeah, please, go ahead. I'm very sorry.
It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zeeks. My lord. The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical.
Yes, Mr. Dreba.
Gather information about the man. If possible, I should like to hear him served with a subpoena.
Yeah, I hope we do find him.
With pleasure, my lord.
Now, counsel for the defense.
Yes, my lord.
When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence that the defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused.
I understand.
Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning.
That was a good trial. We got all that done in the span of 2 hours, it looks like. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Mr. Arodo. Ah, yes. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You're right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry. Did you really have no idea, Professor? About what Mr. Drebin was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing? Naturally. That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it. Alright, in that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands, so we must do as much investigating as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. Well, thank you for doing so much for me. Yeah, why Suzuto-san here? I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive. Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you, Runo, so it'll be a surprise. Well, did it work?
I was surprised, alright, especially when she threw me to the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future.
Susie's training was late in London, Victoria this morning, you see. But we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial.
Well, she missed like 99% of it, but that's okay.
I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh.
Having you at my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm, delighted to see you back in London.
Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you.
Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotoba not protest?
Let's save all the conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion.
Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait. We're gonna have tea. We're gonna discuss stuff. Suzuto-san was back in London. It's so hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time, but despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Alright. To be continued? Yep, there we go. That's the perfect time to end then. We had 2 be continueds in 1 episode. How often does that happen? Well, anyways, guys, and I guess in the next episode, we're going to continue the investigation, because had the case just ended there, it would have been, like, hella anticlimactic. So I'm pretty glad we're doing more, because I want to see this case play out, you know? Alright, well anyways, guys, as always, make sure to like and subscribe to on YouTube and Twitch. And, not sure when I'll get to continuing this case, but, you know, we'll see. We have a lot to do. And anyways, there might be another stream later today. I haven't really decided what's gonna go on today. But I'm gonna bug somebody and see if they want to play something, maybe. Who knows? Or maybe somebody will bug me. You never know. But alright, guys. I will see you guys later.